What if I told you that just about everything we think we know about getting rich is wrong? Seriously, that it has way less to do with how smart you are and pretty much everything to do with how you behave. It sounds a little crazy, I know. But stick with me. By the end of this, you'll see exactly how a humble janitor could end up financially crushing a top Wall Street executive.
Okay, so let's get right into it. This is the big mystery we're going to solve today. And this isn't some crazy lottery win or a surprise inheritance. Nope. This is a real guy who, against all possible odds, built a fortune so large that almost nobody in the entire country had that much when they died. So how on earth did he do it? Well, the answer is kind of hiding in plain sight.
All right, let's meet our two main characters. On one side, you've got Ronald Reed, a janitor from rural Vermont. No fancy degree, no powerful connections, just a man who put in decades of honest hard work. And on the other side, Richard Fiscone. This guy had it all. A Harvard MBA, a killer job at Merrill Lynch. People called him a business genius. He was so good he retired in his 40s. I mean, one of these men is basically the poster child for what we're told leads to wealth.
And here is the twist. It was the janitor, Ronald Reed, who quietly, patiently built that $8 million fortune. And the Harvard-educated executive, Richard Fiscone, completely wiped out. When the 2008 financial crisis hit, his super lavish lifestyle, all fueled by massive debt, just turned to dust. He actually told a bankruptcy judge, "I currently have no income." So what in the world happened? How is that even possible?
Well, the secret isn't in some complicated finance textbook. It's all about human psychology. And Morgan Housel's amazing book, The Psychology of Money, gives us all the clues we need to unravel this whole paradox. So come on, let's follow the evidence and crack this case together.
So let's start with our very first clue, and it's a pretty wild idea that might just change how you look at every single financial decision you've ever made. And it's this: when it comes to money, no one is crazy.
Think about it. What seems like a totally bonkers decision to me might make perfect sense to you. And why is that? It's because we haven't lived the same life. Our personal history with money, the things our parents taught us, the economy we grew up in, all of that stuff creates this unique lens to which we see the world. And that lens guides all of our choices.
And you can really see this when you look at different generations. Like, let's say you came of age in the 1970s. You would have seen stocks basically go nowhere. So your common sense would tell you, stocks are a risky dead end. But what if you came of age in the 1990s? You saw a massive tenfold boom. Your common sense says stocks are a rocket ship to the moon. Neither one of you is crazy. You're just products of two completely different histories.
And this perfectly explains our janitor, Ronald Reed. He lived through the Great Depression. His personal history taught him, deep down, the value of being patient and frugal. He wasn't trying to get rich quick. He was just doing what made sense to him. But, our personal experience is just one piece of the puzzle. What about those powerful forces that we can't see or control?
And that brings us right to our second clue. Because our personal experience matters, but it's not the only thing going on. There are these two invisible forces that shape literally every financial outcome, but we almost never give them the credit or the blame they really deserve. And those forces are luck and risk.
Just think about Bill Gates for a second. The man is a genius, no doubt about it. But he was also unbelievably lucky. Back in 1968, there were about 303 million high school-age kids in the entire world. So out of all of them, how many do you think went to a high school that actually had a computer? The answer is about 300. The odds of Bill Gates attending Lakeside School in Seattle were, quite literally, 1 in a million. That incredible stroke of luck gave him a head start that was pretty much impossible for anyone else to replicate.
But here's the thing about luck. It has an evil twin, risk. Gates's best friend at Lakeside was a kid named Kent Evans. He was just as brilliant, just as obsessed with that computer. They talked about changing the world together. But before they could graduate, Kent was killed in a mountaineering accident, a 1 in a million tragedy. It's the same force, same power, just pointed in the opposite direction. So we see that getting rich can involve factors way beyond our control. But what about staying rich?
This brings us to our final, and maybe most important clue, the one that really explains exactly where our high-flying executive went so wrong. You see, getting rich and staying rich are two completely, totally different skills.
Getting money often means you have to take big risks. You have to be optimistic. Think about Richard Fiscone, leveraging himself to the hilt to build his fortune. But keeping money? That requires the exact opposite. It requires humility. It's all about understanding that, luck probably played a role in your success, and that risk could take it all away in a heartbeat.
It's really a survival mindset. You've got this billionaire, Michael Mortz, who runs one of the most successful venture capital firms in history. And when someone asked him the secret to their success over all those decades, his answer was simple: fear. They are constantly paranoid that everything could just disappear tomorrow, and it's that paranoia that keeps him from making the kind of crazy, reckless bets that bring down entire empires.
And that's it, right there. The single most underrated skill in all of finance is simply surviving. Just staying in the game long enough for that magic of compounding to really work. Because if you get wiped out, it doesn't matter how smart you are, the game is over for you. And this brings us right back to our janitor and our executive, because now we have all the clues we need to finally solve this mystery.
Okay, we've gathered the clues, we've looked at the evidence, now it's time for the big payoff. Let's close the loop and solve the janitor's paradox once and for all. So how did the janitor win? It's actually pretty simple. He had better behavior. See, financial success isn't some hard science, it's a soft skill. Richard Fuscone was brilliant, sure, but he was also greedy. He used extreme debt to get rich faster, but that left him with zero room for error when risk finally showed up. Ronald Read, on the other hand, was patient. He understood survival. He just saved what he could, invested in solid blue-chip stocks, and then he waited. For decades. He never got wiped out. He stayed in the game, and that was his edge.
And in the end, Housel argues that this is what Ronald Read achieved and what Richard Fuscone lost. True wealth isn't about the number in your bank account. It's about control. It's about freedom. It's the ability to own your own time, which is the most valuable thing any of us will ever have.
So, the ultimate lesson from the psychology of money isn't really about stock tips or trying to time the market. It's about looking in the mirror. And it leaves us with a really powerful question. What is the one behavior you can change, starting today, that will help you master the skill of survival and build a life of genuine freedom for yourself?